Hi, are you a church leader looking to increase your church's attendance, engagement, impact, and contributions? Well, I'm Jennifer, the traveling publisher, here with some ideas about how to do just that. And today I'm joined by my colleague and friend and new director of Pastoral Publishing, Dr. Renai Ellison. Hi, Dr. Renai, how are you?
Hi, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here. Always
It's
good to be with you.
so fabulous to see you. And I'm so excited to talk about this program because I have observed, and something near and dear to my heart is the struggles it seems like churches across the United States are facing. Can you talk a little bit about that, Dr. Renee?
Yes, without a doubt. Since COVID, especially, there has been declines in physical church attendance, people in the actual sanctuary. Of course, we all know that online services have increased, Zoom services. There's always usually some sort of online presence of most churches. But to actually get people in the seats, in the pews, has been a challenge for many churches. So, what many churches are trying to do is think of different initiatives to try to generate that fellowship, that camaraderie that churches used to have. And it's been a struggle for many churches, many denominations throughout the country, throughout the world, really.
Oh, that is really amazing and very sobering. And I want to recognize that you speak from tremendous personal experience, but also you just graduated from Princeton Theological Seminary.
I did.
Congratulations.
And you know what's interesting? We talked a lot throughout the 2 years that I was a student at Princeton Theological Seminary about just this very topic. And my specialization is in ecumenical studies, which is a study of different denominations and
Uh-huh.
how they interact. And what we learned is just that churches are always looking for opportunities to increase fellowship, to think about new ways to bring people in to the fold.
I love to hear that because I feel like when there's a problem and a lack of people attending churches, it's sort of like the unraveling of the fabric of our lives. And so, as I've been observing this, of course, through my lens as a publisher, I naturally thought of books. And so, it's funny. I remember being a child and seeing church cookbooks and things like that, but you don't see that anymore. What happened to church publishing and church books?
Well, I have a theory, and it could be a true theory because I haven't necessarily researched it myself. A lot of these recipes are lost. A
Mm.
lot of people really don't pass down recipes like they used to. And I remember my grandmother, she was from the South, and she would always say that people don't really cook from recipes in the South. They just kind of throw things together and they taste it. And if it tastes good, well, but there are those traditions. And the church that I belong to, as a matter of fact, we rolled out a cookbook about a year ago
That's
with all kinds of recipes that were great. So it's something that I think that would be really great for a lot of people to sort of have that resurgence of traditions. We're always talking about how we can be more focused on the family and focus on values and focus on wholeness and wholesomeness. And those are the kind of things that I think generate that. So I love the idea of a cookbook for every church.
a cookbook for every church. And also I feel like there's an opportunity here that I think maybe churches aren't realizing, that there is a tradition of churches and publishing books. Why don't we extend that beyond the church cookbook? It occurs to me that these churches have just a treasure trove of content and information. Those
Without a doubt.
those pastors are creating a beautifully crafted sermon for every single Sunday. They have an entire congregation full of stories and testimonies and prayers. You know, it would be very easy for a publisher like Bright Communications to take that amazing content that already exists, is already free, is already an investment of their time, when we could work with them to curate and organize and create awesome books for these churches that then can become a revenue stream, become a way to introduce. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that. When we talked about this several weeks ago, when you first pitched the idea to me, and we talked about the idea of me being your director of pastoral publishing, I thought, what a brilliant idea. Sometimes I believe that pastors underestimate themselves and
Mhm.
what they do every Sunday. It is not easy to craft a sermon that is impactful, that has a message that is encouraging and inspiring and biblically sound and all the things that they do. And that's just the speaking part,
Correct.
right? Not to mention all the other things that they do. So to be able to have that in black and white for a congregation, I think would be an absolute gift and treasure. And all the testimonies and all the stories, like you said, of people and how they come to Jesus.
Right, right.
I mean, and I'm telling you that to me is the gold, is the gift of every congregation, to be able to share your testimony and your story and your journey about how you decided to accept the Lord in your life.
Absolutely. And I think that churches might be really pleasantly surprised at how willing and eager their congregation members might be to actually share their story. And what an amazing opportunity it would be to come together as a church and have something to be proud of to tie you all together. And so, yeah, I think that our new pastoral publishing program could be really successful for churches to help them. And so, I wonder if you have any suggestions on how maybe a church might be able to work with us.
Absolutely. I would say that if there's anyone who's listening to this message who is thinking about the importance of evangelism in your church, because that's what a book is. It's evangelism. It's an opportunity for you to share your story, your journey, how you came to God, how you came to Christ, and to be able to share that with other people in written form is such a gift.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something, Dr. Renee, that really resonated with me. The idea that all these churches have histories. Many of these churches are hundreds of years old. Like, you must have an incredible history. Somebody should capture that, chronicle it, and share it. And I know churches exist for a higher calling, but also these are revenue generating things. You can sell these books to members at your events, on your website, your social media. And in addition to that, these books can help you meet an entirely new audience. All of our books for my company are available on Amazon to order everywhere books are sold. And then, of course, the churches can buy them in bulk to sell them and make between $8 and $15 a book. And so this is content. It kind of hurts my heart a little bit to think that these pastors are toiling away all week, right? Writing this amazing sermon that's only heard on Sunday morning and then is forgotten. Well, if we take those amazing sermons and prayers and recipes and stories and bring them into a book, guess what? That's something that your members can take with them into their home, taking a piece of your ministry into their home to have and cherish and enjoy and inspire and inform forever.
Without a doubt. And I love how you talked about it's tangible evidence of the history. It's tangible evidence of the life. It's tangible evidence of the pastoral work that you do, not just on the Sunday, but the time that you take to prepare that sermon, digging into the scriptures, reading the commentaries, figuring out the exegetical points that you want to share with your congregation, all the work that goes into being a pastor. It should not just be relegated to a page on your website with a bunch of videos.
That's right.
That to me just does it a disservice.
That's right.
And what you are trying to accomplish, what we are trying to accomplish, Jennifer, is to, I think, revisit that whole idea of just how important it is to record our history and to make it a part of the fabric of our lives.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, it's not the same to share it piecemeal on social media. It's not the same to have videos on your website because it's It's a very thin surface level. When you bring all that information together and organize it and design it into a book, you're presenting it as a keepsake, something special from your heart. And I think what makes our company, Bright Communications, special is you. We've got you as our director of pastoral publishing, and you're that beautiful liaison where pastors can feel comfortable and assured that their material, their content is going to be treated with the absolute highest respect and adhere to the very highest spirituality standards. And I'm not sure there's a publisher who can say that because we have you.
You, I remember when, well, I remember when you said that because that was the one thing that I think drew me is that you talked about having that standard of excellence. And I think what's really just so important is not just that you have that one book, right? That you have an opportunity as a congregation, if you have authors, if you have people on your staff who love to write, if you have people who want to share your story, you can have your own brand of a publishing company, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be Bright Communications, right? You don't have to call it that.
Mhm.
We'll do most of the work for you to help you kind of craft all that. But it can be something that the people who you are connected to can contribute to make it special.
That's exactly right, Dr. Renee. Thank you for bringing that up. And so we actually call it private label publishing. And so if a church, if you church leaders that were listening are interested in this program, you could absolutely publish your books under my name. I would be honored, Bright Communications. However, you can also do private label publishing. And so you would have your very own publishing imprint. And so that would even farther validate and add to your credibility. You literally have written and published the book on these things. And so like Dr. Renee said, you could publish under your name, your sermon collections, your member testimonies, your church history, your recipe collection, and you could even invite your parishioners to publish their books under your publishing label, which honestly could be another revenue stream because you're lending them your name. Perhaps there's an additional charge for that. And so there's so many opportunities with doing a book and publishing. There's never been a better time. And we would just truly, truly love to work with you, my team and I, Dr. Renee, to make this process easy and fun because you might not be aware that if you work with us, it only takes us about 3 months. So once we receive your content, we organize, design, edit, proofread, and can have it in your hands in about 3 months, which is at this date by the holidays.
Unbelievable. And I know that you've been so kind as to say that I'm an essential part of the team. Jennifer, you are no shrinking violet. I think you should probably share just a little bit about your background just to lend credibility to what you're saying. Because I think it's very important that people know that you have been doing this for quite a long time with some pretty impressive organizations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm very pleased. I'm founder of Bright Communications here in the great state of Pennsylvania. And I have published my company well over 200 books with our team. We do about 40 books a year of all different types. So that's another thing. Churches might have an interest in doing a children's picture book or a coloring book or a health book. We do everything from children through adults, fiction to nonfiction. I have a team of over 25 freelancers who are all amazingly skilled at their
They
craft.
really are very incredibly skilled,
Thank
from
you.
graphic artists to editors to you name it.
Ghostwriters, and basically our job is to make things easy and fun for you because we know you have a busy day, you have a busy life, you are running a church, and so we take all this work right off of your plate. We basically do all the work and then present it to you to review and approve. The other thing that's great about working with us is you have one liaison in me and one liaison in Dr. Renee. We do all the heavy lifting working with all of our team, and so it is an honor and a privilege. We would love to help you help more people. And so, Dr. Renee, anything to add or?
No, just that I think that this is one of, you always come up with great ideas, but this is one of those ideas I think that has far reaching roots. That once we are able to work with one congregation that really gets this idea, I think this is going to be the way to go for a lot of congregations who are not only looking to log their history and to record all those incredible sermons and testimonials, but also to make a major imprint in your fundraising efforts.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know about you, but after a while, pie sales, they become rote. So we want to try to be a little bit more creative about the things that we're doing to raise money in churches.
Absolutely. And funny that you mentioned that because if a church needs to raise money to publish the book, to raise money, we actually have a fundraising program
Yeah,
called
we
Books for
do.
Tots. And so we could actually sort of a scholastic book club style meets family fun night where we bring our books, we sell our books, and we donate 25% of cover price of every book sold to your church. So please, church leaders, we would love to have a conversation with you to see how we could best help you. This is just the tip of the iceberg of our ideas. We are here to help. So please reach out. Contact information will be in the description, and you can always visit my website, brightcommunications.net. Dr. Renee, thank you for taking this time. Thank
Sure.
you, friends, for listening and watching, and we hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.